The strange and exciting features found in caves have been a source of fascination since the dawn of human existence. Yet most of us never get to explore this realm of subterranean lure, or to discover that few parts of the world have as many caves as does the state of Alabama. This program is about a land unknown to many people, a land that in many ways has escaped the hustle and bustle of modern civilization, a place with bountiful backcountry, forests, streams, and wildlife more diverse than can be found in much of the inhabited world. Come along with me as we explore the natural wonders of this land. Come along as we discover Alabama. Hi, I'm Doug Phillips. Welcome to Discovering Alabama. We're in the rugged terrain of the northern part of the state. This particular spot is not far from the Tennessee line, a gorgeous view in every direction. At the surface, the kind of terrain just about anybody would find inviting. But in this part of the state, there are also a great number of remarkable features below the surface. Our show this time is about Alabama caves. We'll actually explore one cave while learning about the many others that exist in the state. But before we get started, it's probably fair to tell you there'll be a short quiz at the end of the show. 2 questions. The first is simply, how are caves formed? And if you'll follow me right over here, I'll give you an advance clue to this question. As you see here, all the water in the creek above us pours down into this huge hole below us. But look at the stream bed ahead. It's practically dry. Is all the water in the creek just mysteriously swallowed by that huge hole? Well, let's look a little further down the stream bed and see. And here, out of the side of a bluff, almost magically, enough water flows to once again fill the creek. Apparently, over time, the water has formed a channel that completely bypasses part of the original creek bed. So your clue to the first question of our quiz has to do with the possible interactions of water and some kinds of rock. Now, the second question you'll be expected to answer at the end of the show pertains to our guest for this program. Let's go join him now. Hey, this is Dr. Richard Cobb with the Lauderdale County School System. Have I got your gear together?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. By the end of the show, I want you to be able to tell whether Richard is a speleologist or a spelunker. Now come on and join us for a little caving adventure.
Well, I think we're getting close now. You can almost smell a cave here. Back there just a little ways when we saw a stream. And here we've got the other ingredient that you need for the formation of a cave, and that's a large area of soluble limestone. And right here is a good place to look at what water can do to limestone when it interacts with it. It's opened up this set of joints here, and the water now goes down into the groundwater from here. It could be forming a new system of caves or feeding a cave system down below. And I think our entrance is just right through the trees here.
All right. Most of Alabama's caves occur in the northern part of the state, around the Tennessee Valley area, including the highland country of surrounding counties, and in the lengthy ridge and valley region, which extends into the central part of the state. There are also many caves in certain areas of the coastal plain region. All of these areas of Alabama contain massive beds of limestone, a key factor in the geological processes that lead to cave development. Alabama ranks among few places having such a high concentration of caves. From border to border, the total number in the state is almost 3,000. And deep inside most of Alabama's caves is complete darkness.
Well, this brings back some memories. This is one of the first caves I ever put on the Alabama Cave Survey about 20 years ago.
How deep are we in the cave now?
Oh, we're just back about 100 feet.
Okay. How deep does it go?
Oh, we got about another 500 or 600 to go. But this is a very small cave by Alabama standards. A lot of our caves go over 50,000 feet, and some of them are several hundred feet deep.
Total darkness in caves is one reason caving can be a dangerous activity. Of course, when confronted by a brave camera crew with special lights, the darkness retreats.
Okay, this is where we start getting interesting up here. Get down and do a little caving.
Oh boy. I don't know, Richard. At this point, I'd have to characterize caving as dark, damp, and scary.
It may be a little of that, but it's also awfully interesting. Let's just look up here at this beautiful formation.
All right.
Okay, right over here we've got a really pretty formation. Got about a 10-foot flowstone column, and it's been formed by deposition of material dissolved from the limestone above and then deposited here when the water evaporated and left this beautiful formation. Now down here at the bottom, you've got a beautiful little tiny rimstone dam left. You see the formation is dripping into this little pool. And some of this water evaporates and leaves the little rimstone dams here. Now right over here, you've got another beautiful formation. A beautiful little formation area right here. A variety of different formations. You've got back in the background there some flowstone draperies. Some people call them bacon rind. I think you can see why. Then we have a nice flowstone cascade coming down here with some little rimstone dams in it. What do you think all these features that we've looked at inside the cave so far have in common, Doug?
One thing they got in common, they're all in scary to get to places.
Well, besides that, one of the things that's really important about all these features is the fact that they're all related to the action of water on limestone. All these formations themselves were created by deposition from the water that flows through the limestone, and the caves themselves were formed by the solution of the limestone. Now, take a look right up there, and I think you can see what's going on.
Oh boy.
That's what it's all about. It's water flowing down through the limestone.
Oh, that's pretty.
It's depositing a little thin layer of flowstone as it's coming down here to these rimstone dams.
Okay.
All right, let's go over here and we'll look at one more thing.
All right.
Here's a good place to do what I want to do. But around the world, caves are formed by a lot of different things, such as volcanic action and tectonic action and the action of waves on cliffs and so forth. But here in Alabama, most of the caves are formed in limestone by the dissolution of the limestone by rainwater that has been made slightly acidic by picking up carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. And what I've done here is speed up a process a little bit by using some dilute hydrochloric acid. And you can see what's going on here. It's dissolving away this limestone that I poured it on.
Same kind of process in nature, only takes millions of years.
Right.
Yeah.
Lots longer than what you see here. This is just this is a little test we can use in the field too to check for presence of carbonate rocks. Just drop a little acid on it, not that much normally.
Okay. The chemistry of how caves are formed actually begins at the surface with plants and animals. A common byproduct of plant decay and animal respiration is carbon dioxide, CO2. The next important ingredient is water, H2O. When water combines with carbon dioxide, the result is H2CO3, the very mild acid known as carbonic acid. But the main ingredient, as we've seen, is the presence of subsurface limestone. Limestone is composed of the mineral calcite, CaCO3. And when the slow movement of water brings carbonic acid into contact with calcite, the calcite is gradually dissolved into a calcium bicarbonate solution. And wherever this process has been taking place for millions of years, today we find the occurrence of extensive cave systems. As you can see from this map of an actual cave, many cave passages follow joints in the limestone, which tend to intersect at right angles and can develop into complex networks.
Okay, let's take a look here at the ceiling of our room here. Right down the ceiling, going this way, is a joint, and then there's a number of right angle joints crossing it here. When we were back on top a little while ago, remember seeing those joints in the limestone up there? Well, they're probably exactly the same angles as these joints in here, and the water from those joints probably percolate down through them into this cave system here. And
Gradually domed it out like this?
And gradually excavated out along those joint patterns.
Caves have been an attraction to humankind for tens of thousands of years. Cave paintings more than 20,000 years old in Spain and France are evidence of cave use by prehistoric European cultures. We know that people have used Alabama caves for at least 10,000 years. Among the first to conduct actual scientific exploration of Alabama caves was a young man named Walter B. Jones. Serving as state geologist from 1927 to 1961, Jones undertook to systematically document important aspects of caves in the state. Part of his original handwritten field notes, some scribbled on whatever was handy at the moment, are preserved today and tell of exciting ventures into caves previously unvisited by modern man. Later, others would be drawn to the wonders of Alabama caves. In the 1950s, Russell Cave in Jackson County, now a national monument managed by the U.S. Park Service, was the site of a highly publicized archaeological investigation. Here, the National Geographic Society worked jointly with the Smithsonian Institute and uncovered charcoal remains from the ancient campfires of Indians who first came to live in Russell Cave around 8,000 years ago. Skeletal findings were used to reconstruct the probable features of this early Indian. In a sense, to travel back in time and meet him face to face. Since the 1950s, additional studies of Alabama caves have produced similar evidence of human use.
Over the past 20 to 25 years, the Alabama State Museum of Natural History has been involved in the excavation of archaeological deposits as contained within caves and bluff shelters. Much of this work occurred within the Tennessee Valley area and also in the areas of Sand Mountain. We have found that for at least 10,000 years, prehistoric man has utilized these shelters, and in some cases we've found several feet of archaeological deposits which reflect this long usage.
Recent findings by the Alabama Museum of Natural History are reported following a 1988 excavation at Cathedral Caverns in Marshall County, one of the largest caves in the world. This excavation was conducted under agreement with the Alabama Department of Conservation and Natural Resources in preparation for the future opening of Cathedral Caverns to the public. An archaeological study currently underway is at a place called Smith Bottoms in Lauderdale County, where very tight and tedious excavation work is uncovering evidence of a prehistoric cave burial site.
As we proceed back toward the back, we're excavating very slowly. We're excavating in very thin cuts. We're excavating meter by meter to get to the back of this very small, narrow cave. The bucket you just saw come out is then taken to the edge of the slough, where we use a water pump to hose down this dirt and wash the dirt away through a very small screen, leaving the rock as well as prehistoric artifacts exposed. This then is retrieved by us. In portions of the cave, in the lower portions, we've also found some very early artifacts suggesting that people living 8,000 or 9,000 years ago in this area were using this place.
But people were not the first to use Alabama's caves. Animals, many now extinct, inhabited the caves for thousands of years before human presence.
Sometimes we find bones where animals have obviously come into the cave and died. Other times we find caves that act as natural traps where bones are deposited in the bottom of them from dead individuals. This particular individual is probably one of the more remarkable things in Alabama caves. This is the upper arm bone, the humerus, of a ground sloth, a giant ground sloth. This beastie weighed maybe 2 tons. He would be as large as a big Brahma bull or a big Hereford bull. But as large as it was, this wasn't the biggest animal in Alabama. The biggest animal is this little rascal over here. This is the vertebra of a mastodon. The mastodon was the most common elephant in Alabama. As recently as maybe 8,000 years ago, there were elephants just roaming the woods of Alabama.
Okay, right here we have one of many, many cave crickets live in this cave. You can see him right here as he crosses this flowstone. And this one's a female. I can see her ovipositor on her. And right back here, we have another little critter that dwells in the cave here during the winter. This little eastern pipistrelle. This is a little bat, and he stayed the winter here and hibernated in this cave. It's the smallest bat we have in this part of the country, and I think a very pretty little animal. Doug, here we've got a real pretty little drip water pool. And that tells us that this cave is still active, the formation is still active. The water that's in this pool is all passed down through the limestone. This is not a groundwater pool. There is a groundwater lake back in the back part of the cave. It's a lot deeper than this. In this room, you've got just about every kind of cave formation that we commonly have here in Alabama. Got some good examples of common stalactites, some stalagmites up there on that little ledge along the ceiling. Got our flowstone. We've got some nice curtains in places up there in the top. We've got what we call cave coral or popcorn down here near the lake level. And just about every kind of flow type of formation that you'd find in an Alabama cave, you can see it right here in this room.
I guess this is an example of a great diversity of features that are found in caves. Huh?
That's right. Not all caves have formations, and not all caves have all these kinds of formations, but there's a wide variety of what you can find, from no formations at all to some really beautiful things, even more beautiful than this here in Alabama.
Cave formations are called speleothems, a derivation of the Greek words speleon, meaning cave, and thema, meaning deposit. More than 80 kinds of speleothems are found in caves. In addition to the commonly occurring stalactites, which grow downward from the ceiling, and stalagmites, which grow upward from the cave floor, there are many less common features with names such as helictites, boxwork, cave pearls, cave draperies, craters, cave flowers, and a host of others, sometimes tinted with beautiful colors from various minerals. Good old sunshine. I guess my preference for the Earth's surface is obvious, and that sort of makes me a spelunker, somebody who enjoys occasional caving for the fun of it, the sport of it. Richard, then, is a speleologist, someone who caves for professional and research and study purposes. We've already seen a couple of other speleological activities, archaeology, paleontology, but there are also other speleological purposes of caving.
Most of my work involves protecting endangered species, and in caves there are a number of species that are on the federal endangered species list. Those species include things like the gray bats and the Indiana bats that we have in northern Alabama, as well as one species of cave fish that is one of the rarest of fishes in North America, and also a cave shrimp. One way to look at the cave is that it's a little monitoring system of our own environment. And by monitoring the populations of the animals that live in the caves, we're finding out something about our own environment. For example, when we follow the populations of the cave fishes and the populations of the crayfish and the cave shrimp that live in some of these caves, we're monitoring actually indirectly we're monitoring the quality of the water that these animals are living in. The Fish and Wildlife Service has been involved with protecting cave life in Alabama for about 10 years in really an intense way. And in the first part of that 10-year period, we spent most of our effort working with the endangered bats, primarily the gray bats. So with the gray bats, what I feel we have in Alabama is an example of a recovering endangered species. And there are species that we may not all want to go out and hug a bat, but at the same time they're all of value to us because the gray bats feed upon insects, aquatic insects. They feed upon things like mayflies and tiny moths and even mosquitoes. So they're a natural insecticide. And they're something that we don't have to pay for. It's just a resource that all we have to do is take care of it, and it will do good things for us.
The more we learn about the role of caves as critical bat habitat, it seems the importance of protecting bats is getting new attention, and not only among scientists. A good example is teacher Deborah Rust and her students at Midfield Elementary School.
Do you know what? About 2 years ago, I went to the Alabama Conservancy annual meeting, and while I was there, I met Merlin Tuttle. And I was really impressed with the work that he was doing on behalf of the bats, and he is the president of Bat Conservation International. And he has been doing work all over the world to help protect certain species of bats. So he developed a group of people who were concerned about bats and has organized these people into a group, and their title is Bat Conservation International. So I went back to Midfield, I took this information to my enrichment class.
Well, she told us that we're going to start studying bats, and she told us how many bats were being killed in Alabama, so I said, why don't we start a bat club of our own, since Merlin Tuttle had Bat Conservation International, and it's been real successful now. We've got over 500 members and have raised over $400.
Our logo is BAT, which stands for Bats Aren't Terrible, Bats Are Terrific. I think this is terribly important to teach children because we're trying to promote humane education in our school system, and I think that it's very important for children and adults to know that animals need to be taken care of because they may become endangered or extinct, and it's our responsibility to help do that.
In addition to scientific and educational interest in caves, there is one other big reason that people go into these dark and often dangerous places.
I've been asked, why do we do this? Why do we go in these caves? I guess the principal answer is it's curiosity. Well, once we get into it, you can branch off into many different specialties. As you will find out, there are biological specialists. There are those who like photography. There are many scenes to photograph underground, and it's a special techniques that are needed to do that and get beautiful pictures. Then there's just the pure exploring, like we discussed. There's the matter of mapping. Some people like to get in there and map the cave. So as I said, what drives us on is curiosity. What's around this corner? Is it a pit? Is it a beautiful formation? Crawlway? Who knows? The only way to find out is to go see.
Despite their wonder and their importance, caves are all too often damaged by acts of carelessness and vandalism. A new law known as the Cave Protection Act is aimed at curtailing this kind of wanton abuse of Alabama caves. But other kinds of threats are not so simple to address. For example, expanding land development can sometimes impact the structural or ecological integrity of nearby caves. In such cases, the best solution is greater public awareness combined with intelligent planning to protect cave values. An organization dedicated to perpetuating the many values of caves is the National Speleological Society, whose national office happens to be in Huntsville, Alabama. The Society's caving motto is "Take nothing but pictures, leave nothing but footprints, and kill nothing but time." Anyone interested in learning more about caves or caving is advised to contact the Society. And a reminder, caving can be very dangerous. Every year people are lost, injured, or killed while caving, so contact an expert before venturing forth on your own. Also, a couple of excellent reading materials are Exploring Alabama Caves, a publication of the Geological Survey of Alabama, and Caving Basics by the National Speleological Society. It's hard to cover everything that pertains to Alabama caves in the space of a 30-minute show, but I hope we've given you what at least is a decent overview. I'd like to thank my guest, Dr. Richard Cobb, for his expertise and his guidance. And I know he and I both would like to remind you that Alabama caves are a unique resource that must be respected and protected. So, hope you've enjoyed the show, and we'd like to hear from you. Send your comments to Discovering Alabama, University Television Services, University of Alabama, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, 35487.